everybody. Will here from 1459 Studios. Let's talk about some gear. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am Nick Donner. I play guitar in a band called Inhuman Scourge that practices in this very space, and play a bass in a crust punk band called Despise.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show, we'll call it today.
Yeah, thanks for having me as your guinea pig.
Yeah, everybody's got to be a first one, right?
Yep.
There's no problem with that.
Yeah, it's super smooth.
Yeah. Yeah. Nick and I have known each other for, 15 plus years at this point.
Yep.
So I've recorded numerous bands of his. My bands and his bands used to play at the wonderful Triple Rock, where he was a...
Rest in peace.
Yeah, love that venue. Trying to remember if we first met there or if we first met at like a tattoo convention or something. Do you remember?
No, because that's when I was still drinking, so I don't remember anything.
Yeah, I was still drinking then too, so pretty fair statement, right? So, but the point is, we've known each other for a long time. We've been friends for a long time. We've worked together.
Yep.
We've recorded on projects together. We haven't played in a band yet together.
No, surprisingly not. No.
Maybe one day. We'll see. We'll see
someday.
what happens. Yeah. So anyway, we're here to talk about some gear. So let's go ahead and talk about some gear. So Nick, one of the reasons that I wanted to actually ask you to do this with me is because you're a gear nerd just like I am. We've had lots of kind of impromptu conversations about gear over the years, whether it be pedals or amps or speakers or whatever. So I think your amp collection's really cool. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about that?
Yeah, we're a little bit nerdy about this stuff. The top amp, the Soldano, that is a Soldano Avenger 50. It's a single channel, high gain amp. Doesn't even have an effects loop, just straight to the point. Been using that since about 2012. So I used a Mesa triple rectifier for a long time, and I just wanted to do something different. And dang YouTube and 8 million demo videos later, I finally pulled the trigger and bought that one.
What was it about the Avenger from the Soldano family that made you go, I want that, versus a hot rod? Or any other great amps? That's just the one that comes to my mind,
Well, first of all, it was the cheapest one.
Yeah.
But the simplicity of it, because I just was like, you know what? I don't ever use an effects loop. I don't use 2 channels. I go, let's just, keep that signal path straightforward and see what happens. Plus, it's only a 50 watt amp. I went from a 150 watt triple rec to a 50 watt Soldano, and volume wise, it was, hardly a difference. And it just had the sound, it's like that hot rodded Marshall JCM 800 that, we grew up on that sound, if we've gotten to metal, listening to 80s metal and stuff like that. I mean, that was the sound.
Yeah.
And
Michael Soldano's a genius.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And super nice guy. He actually picks up the phone when he was still, running Soldano. I called the shop to pick his brain about something. He answered the phone. And he was glad to talk about it. So I was like, dude, it's awesome. Like, this guy's a super cool dude. And so, yeah, I got a really good deal on it. It was a new return. So I was really happy about that. $600 off.
That doesn't suck.
Yeah.
That's an awesome amp. It's we recorded that one for 2 sides of that one. One was a little bit more fuzzed out, but we did that on the latest Inhuman Scourge recording that you can listen to. We'll put the link up later in the video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Soldano's pretty awesome. It sounds good. There's a recording of it. It exists. It's awesome. What about the Mad Amp? Not everybody may be familiar with that, even though a lot of the Doom cats love them.
Oh yeah, that's the Doom special. I lately been listening to more stoner doom metal, sludge type stuff, and just loving that, like, more so than death metal. I'm not putting death metal down at all. I play in a death metal band. But, I just gravitating towards, like, droning the same riff for a couple minutes at a time. And the Mad Amp just seemed to be the key. That was the glue that held everything together. If it wasn't, Mad Amp built vintage oranges, it was new build Mad Amps. And this is a GT120 non-master volume. It is loud, ungodly loud, painfully loud. And it feels so good to play in front of it. But yeah, you got to have earplugs in.
Yeah. So as far as Mad Amps, you kind of alluded to a little bit. Obviously, it looks like an Orange. It gives the Orange vibe. So the guy who builds that Mad Amp used to work for Orange, right?
No. This is what's cool about this.
I'm wrong. Yes.
Yeah, no, what's cool about this is when you can order it, in different faceplate configurations and different Tolex colors. And so I had them make it look like an old Orange, Ormat OR120, and I just wanted that look and the vintage logo and stuff. And yeah, so I mean, it's an amp that looks like it's 45 years old, but I just got it last year. So, and that's going to be used in a yet to be named project, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's. I remember the first time I ever heard from that was one of the bands growing up from my Wisconsin days. There was a band called Figure of Merit, if anybody ever heard of them. But
yeah.
Roger, their guitar player, was playing Mad Amps, and I never heard of him. And the first time that he played me a chord, it literally pushed me back. It was just an incredible sounding amp. I know that there's quite a few different variations, but loud is their thing.
Yeah, you literally feel it, like Will said. Like it just, you stand in front of it and play, and it feels like it's pushing you backwards, and it's awesome.
How many watts is that guy?
120.
120 is. Yep. I'm assuming it was high
and
wattage.
That's 120 clean watts.
Yeah.
So it's louder when there's more breakup, and you can get it to break up, but it gets really painful.
Yeah. Well, so it's a pretty killer selection of amplifiers. Obviously, I know that Nick has more, but we can't talk about all of them. Maybe we'll do a second video eventually. But it's a pretty cool smattering of what he has so far. So let's go ahead and move on to cabinets. All right, so we're talking about cabinets now, right? So before we actually started rolling the video, you were kind of telling me a little bit about the speaker configuration of these, but first I'll let you just go, here's what they're supposed to be, here's what they actually are.
Yeah, sounds good. This is the typical Orange, what is it, PPC 412. It's supposed to have vintage 30s in it. I bought it used. I thought it had vintage 30s in it. When we recorded with it, we put it as having vintage 30s in the bio on the Instagram page. But no, when I took the back off of it, it's those big honking 100-watt Celestion G100K, whatever, configuration of numbers and letters.
Still an excellent sounding speaker.
Yeah, I mean, a great speaker. But I wanted to do an X pattern with the Celestion M magnet creambacks. It's a higher wattage greenback, and yeah, so much to my surprise, I took the back off and saw these aren't vintage 30s, but so it sounds amazing with the creambacks in it. It really kind of, all the signal just it fills everything out, takes some of the harshness away from the 100 watters, and yeah, it sounds great on its own.
Nice. Is your other cab all stock to your knowledge?
I don't know. Yeah. I've never taken the back off that one. But, I'm assuming it was. I bought this one used also. It's a little more rough shape. But this is the 40th anniversary Orange cab. It's the PVC 412. It's, 1968 to 2008 40th anniversary. And this has a 30-watt Celestion 70th anniversary speaker in it, and which also sound incredible. And as far as I know, that's all stock. And for 120-watt cabinet with the 50-watt head, just playing those two together, it sounds incredible. It's awesome sounding. And yes, you shouldn't have to be afraid of lower wattage cabs.
Yeah.
They can handle it.
They absolutely can. Most cabs are overbuilt in the sense that they can handle a lot more wattage than most people are throwing at them. Now, if you're like big business or something, it's like you're going to max those out.
I wouldn't play the Mad Amp through just this cab.
Yeah.
That'd probably be disastrous.
You run your cabs in stereo, or do you run a mono usually?
Just mono.
Yep. Yeah. They're pretty excellent sounding cabs. Everybody knows Orange. A lot of people don't necessarily think Orange when they think death metal, but a lot of people think Marshall when they're thinking classic death metal. And let's face it, it's the Orange stuff has a lot in common with the Marshall world. So.
It does. It really does.
Yep. I prefer them. I think they're a bit chunkier. Nothing against Marshalls.
Yeah,
Hate us in the comments, but whatever.
the one thing I do like about the Marshall cabs, like the JCM 900 or the 1960, they're quite a bit lighter than these things.
Much smaller, much less going on in
but
those
they do
cabs.
sound good.
Yeah.
I used to have the Marshall, like the 900 B cab, great sounding cab.
Absolutely. Well, should we talk guitars?
Yeah, let's
Awesome.
talk guitars.
All right, so Nick, let's talk about your lovely, trusty Gibson collection here, shall we?
Yeah, the headstock's intact.
It's not a Les Paul. You haven't dropped it yet, so the Les Pauls go a little bit quicker, it seems.
I've been pretty fortunate in that. Hey, I had a Les Paul Studio.
Yep.
Headstock was intact.
Yep. My Les Paul has survived so far, but the day is young. So tell us about the SG.
So this is a 2013 SG Standard 61, not to be confused with the 61 reissue, because as far as I know, they were not made in 2013 or 2014, but it has specs from a Standard and a 61 reissue, as with the 60 slim taper neck, but it has the long tenon neck joint of the Standard. And stock, it had the 57 Classics from the reissues. But this thing's been through a few different sets of pickups and different bridge. But this was a great used find on Reverb, and awesome seller gave me a good deal on it. And I've had this guitar tuned to Standard. I've had it tuned down to F sharp.
How?
Yeah.
Very, very thick strings.
Yeah, huge strings like cable wires.
Yeah.
But this hip shot bridge really made a difference in getting the intonation right for super low tunings, and it's fantastic. But right now, pickups are both the Marzio. This is the Fortitude. This is I'm going to butcher his name, Joe DePlanter from Gojira. Mm-hmm. This is his signature pickup, and it's kind of like a hot rodded. What is that? 36th anniversary or PAF or something like that. But sounds fantastic, and it's tuned to B standard. You can throw all the gain and everything at that pickup. Sounds awesome. Huge low end, but very clear. And then, kind of a shocker in the neck position is the EJ, the Eric Johnson. Really mellow pickup. Almost kind of has a single coil quality to it, but with humbucking. Don't use it a whole lot. Don't do a lot of soloing, but when I do, yeah, it's great. Super fluid, glassy, awesome.
It worked out that they look like they're matching, even though they're not at all. But I suppose the Marzio, you can customize all that these days.
I ordered them like that.
Yeah.
I know, it's a nice thing. Everything can be customized these days. So,
yeah.
But
yeah, they'll one day when we have more time, we'll have to talk about the Gibson DiMarzio current lawsuit that's going on.
I was unaware of that.
Yeah, so that's a video topic for another day. But it's an interesting lawsuit, and it has to do with the language of PAF and the color of pickups of all things.
Oh, double cream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing that Gibson is going after. It's I don't think I'm going to break any rules by saying Gibson's a great company that make wonderful guitars, and they do like to protect their brand, is a nice way to say it. So, but they make great guitars, and that's a wonderful example of it. I was curious how you got that thing in such low tuning, but having that hip shot makes complete sense now.
Massive difference. Yeah, it's you don't have much tension on the strings at all in that tuning anyway. But I was listening to a lot of Conan, and they're like drop F.
Yep.
And John from Conan uses 24 3/4 inch scale length guitars. I'm going to try it. It was fun.
Yeah. For all the kids out there that go, you need an 8-string to go low, Carcass didn't. Conan doesn't. You can go low. It's totally okay. Just set your guitar up correctly. So let's talk about this guy, with what I think is one of the coolest guitars I've seen from you.
Oh, thank you. This is a 2006 Gibson Flying V 67 reissue. This was a really cool find at Guitar Center. It was being clearanced out, been sitting there. I bought it in 2009. It was still new. So it'd been sitting there for a while. And it was just before I was to leave on vacation, and I didn't have that much money at the time, but I sat and played it for about an hour and a half, and a sales guy, he's like, "Are you going to buy it? Do you want it?" I was like, "Listen, man, I can put it on layaway. Like I'll put half down, But I'm going on vacation and I have to wait till I get back before I can, pay the rest of it. And they said, well, it's a clearance guitar, I can't really do that. I was like, can we work something out? Talk to a manager, and of course, worked it out, and that, that was that for, like, I finally got to bring it home and then got it set up in B standard, and it was still all stock at that point, still had the white pick guard and the, was it the 500 T and the 490?
496, yeah.
496 or something like that. Still had the stock tuners, but
it's obviously heavily modded.
Yeah, it's a little bit modded. Got the custom pick guard from was it WD Music down in Florida. I just said, hey, can we delete the neck pickup hole and then delete the other two controls and just do one pickup? And I said sure. I do it all black, white, black, and then I ordered this DiMarzio. What the heck is this? This is a Super 3. And then I, did it in nickel with the, the hex bolts, kind of make it look meaner. But, yeah, just fantastic V. Fun guitar.
Upgraded tuners, too, yeah.
Oh, yeah, upgraded tuners. Got the Spursel locking tuners on there. Holds tune pretty dang well. Except for when you're like me and you never change your strings, But that's a string problem. That's a me problem. I'm lazy.
Yeah.
But solid guitar. This thing's taking a beating.
Yeah, I remember you've had that for a very long time.
Yes,
so
2009.
Pretty cool guitar.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. Let's talk some pedals, yeah?
Oh, pedals.
Pedals.
Yeah.
Everybody loves pedals.
Everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
How many hours do we spend on YouTube looking at pedal demos?
How many times have you rebuilt this board?
Surprisingly, only 3. And
You're doing better than me.
I have 2 boxes of pedals at home, and I don't know what to do. I'm like, what did you call it? Analysis paralysis.
Analysis paralysis. Yeah. It's watch out YouTube censors. It's here it comes. It's like when people are pedal files.
Pedal
Files. People that like pedals. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about pedals.
All right. Let's get the boring stuff out of the way. So on Will's end here, we have the Peterson Strobo Stomp. It's a tuner.
Tuners.
It does what it needs to do. It's a strobe tuner.
But goddamn, are they important?
Yep, absolutely necessary. I can't do the headstock tuners. I can't. At home I can, but I don't know. Makes me self-conscious.
You always kind of go like, here's a thing, here's an opinion that people might like. When I see a band playing live with a headstock tuner, I automatically think, are you a local band? Sorry, it's the truth. It's just put a pedal on your pedal board. Who? Hate me in the comments, don't care.
Shots fired. Yeah, and then the next one in the line is the Electric Eye Audio Mud Killer, and it does what it says. It's a boost pedal with I think it's like an EQ shift. But it's got tone, pre-gain, post-gain, and then the mud control from fat. What does it say? It's from fat to skinny. That's what it says.
It's just more of a boost pedal, or is it more of like a dirt pedal?
It's more boost. There's not a whole lot of gain out of it. And I think I have the volume at unity gain. I usually using it for tone shaping because I don't really need boost out of that amp. But it's some days certain guitars like just a little too flubby in the low end, and that takes care of it, no problem.
Yeah. Like with yours between your SG and your V, it's like they're very different sounding guitars.
Yes,
so it's kind of nice to have
very
that tweakability.
much so. And surprisingly, it's the SG is the one that really needs the mud killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go figure. And then another utility pedal that we must have if you're using boost and stuff like that. MXR SmartGate does what it does. It's
one knob.
It's a one knob noise gate with some buttons on it, but it works. It's great. Keeps the squeals down. And then the next one. This is the fun one. This is the Fuzz Throne this is the Magic Pedals version of the Fuzz Throne. The Fuzz Throne was originally done by Dunwich Amps. He kind of shut up shop. But and then let Magic Pedals build it. And this was the John from Conan signature pedal, but not this version was different than his actual version. The other one had toggles and stuff like that, and they just redid that one. But this is a killer fuzz pedal based on a fuzz face, I think. And then it's also got a boost in there too, and it's surprisingly has a lot of definition for a fuzz. Like, I mean, you could use it for metal, that's for sure.
That's always the thing with fuzz pedals, though, right? Is like that's why there's so many out there, is because it goes, what kind of fuzz are you looking for? What kind of music do you play?
Yep.
It's, you think about the classics are basically your fuzz face and your big muff, and everything is a variant of one of those.
Yeah, and I mean, you can get this thing to chug too, which is, I mean, it's a really dirty, nasty chug, but it's fun. It I wouldn't kick it out of bed for eating crackers.
I remember when we were recording, we were going, oh, we need a guitar B sound, and like, how can we make the Soldano and we're using the V, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do we make the Soldano and the V sound a little bit different? It's like, oh, let's just throw some fuzz on it. I'm like, oh, it might get too muddy, and you're like, I don't know. So it sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, it worked out great.
Yeah.
That was cool. I'm glad to have that tone, that underlying tone on there.
Yeah, it's like a very tight fuzz for people looking for that kind of thing.
Yeah, and especially if you slam the mud killer in front of it, you can really tighten it up. And it's just a super dirty high gain sound.
Cool.
Yeah, and then now we have the VFE tractor beam phaser, which is also got a vibrato on it, and VFE isn't in business anymore. They still sell schematics and parts and stuff to build their pedals. I think it was the guy's name, Peter Ritter. He was the owner, main guy behind it, but he's also a electronics teacher. But this is just a killer phaser, and it's got, what we got here? Yeah, it's a 4-2 or 3-stage phaser, so you can select, and then you can go from phaser and vibrato, or phaser and vibrato both. It's super versatile, sounds great. If you want us to just sit there and play the beginning of Shine On You Crazy Diamond, over and over again, it's perfect. Cool.
Yeah. Got a couple left there. What's that guy?
Let's get some of the nasty off here.
Yeah.
This is this one's the Shepherd's End Infinite Flanger, or it's a through zero flanger. I still don't know what that means. Mr. Black is a super interesting dude. If you sign up for his email list, there's all sorts of weird stuff he sends, and it's kind of cool. It's nice. I like weirdos.
Yeah.
And he's a good weirdo.
All musicians are somewhat weirdos, right?
A bit eccentric.
Yep.
But yeah, this one I actually use in Inhuman Scourge, because obviously we're not doing a whole lot of ambient stuff, and most of the stuff is just for show now. It's like, ooh, look at all this stuff.
Blinky lights.
It's like, I used to use this pedal when I was a prostitute. No, but awesome sounding flanger. Sounds less like the jet engine taking off type thing. It's you can get the phaser sounds out of it. It's just cool. It's super cool, and there's some great demos of it on YouTube if you want to check it out.
And Mr. Black pedal, there's a lot of really neat pedals from that brand. A lot of unique things.
Oh yeah, I have his Blood Moon reverb pedal, ambient reverb, and I'd like to find a place for that someday.
Yeah. Maybe. Put it on the board eventually. Maybe.
Let's put it on the board and just step on it and see what happens.
Yeah.
And last but not least, the Boss DD8 digital delay, which, everybody knows the DD series of digital delays. It was just the newest one. But yeah, killer delay pedal, tons of options.
I mean, the reason that Boss pedals are classics is because they're classics. You know, they do everything that Boss does they do well. They don't necessarily do different, but let's face it, everything they do really well.
Yeah, and there's probably speculation and argument at this point, but I really feel like Boss was the company to put pedals on the map. Obviously people had pedals before that, with Ross and MXR and Electro Harmonics, but we had all these really great sounding, affordable effects pedals from Boss, and everybody's had one at least.
Yeah. I would say most guitar players probably still have one.
Yeah.
Even regardless if they're new or they're intermediate or they're pros or they're people who are pros who are faking it, like us.
Yep.
Everybody has everybody has a Boss pedal somewhere in their collection.
I have more at home.
Yeah. Yeah, they're wonderful. I completely agree with you. I think that Boss did that thing where it says, "Oh, you want to actually be able to try something different as a young player,
yeah,
and you can afford it. Yeah, you could buy a couple Boss pedals for a couple $100, if that, back then.
Yeah, I mean, how many hours did you spend at those little pedal board displays at
yeah.
a music store, just like putting every single one of them on and making the most annoying sounds possible? I was like 14 years old, barely know how to play.
The music store employees hated them,
Yep.
man, but they sold a lot of pedals, I'm
Yes,
sure.
they
so
did.
Worked out, so yeah, obviously, just for the super nerds here, what kind of board, what kind of power supply? Are you using?
Yeah. What the heck is this thing called?
Probably.
Oh, pedal train.
Probably
yeah.
a pedal train.
It's a pedal train classic.
Yeah.
They bought it with the hard case, and I kind of regret that because it's so heavy. But then we have the Voodoo Lab Pedal Power 2 Plus underneath there, powering the whole rigmarole. You know, it does what it does. You know, it's got different options for, you know, like say I was using like a vintage fuzz, and it's got that sag control on there, you know, and then you can kind of like do a starved battery type thing. But yeah, I mean, it's been going strong for years now, so no need to replace that. And it's seen, you know, the few different pedal board changes and different pedals, and yeah, it does a fantastic job.
Nice.
Got to have that utility stuff.
Absolutely. Well, Nick, thanks for taking the time to be on the show, man. I really appreciate you showing me all your gear.
Hey, I appreciate being your guinea pig. Thanks for having me. I love talking gear, you know that.
Absolutely. Well, thanks a lot, brother.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks again.
it. Make sure you go check out Inhuman, Scourge, and Despise. We'll have some links for you. Thanks for joining.